Hey everyone, and welcome to the KB Article Podcast. Joining me today is Kyle Kinsler and Jordan Kinsler, and we're so excited about our guest today. Today we're going to be speaking with Brian Branigan, president of P3 Power Protection Products. And Brian, their vision is building confidence through power, and they do that by helping businesses of all sizes keep the lights on, so to speak, keep the machines running, so they have confidence in their power systems to keep the machine running. So with that said, Brian, we're so excited to have you here and hear more about your story and your business and what you do to help and what you do for business to help build confidence in keeping that power on.
Downtime might cost them to throw out that batch of medicine or an expensive process is broken or delayed, or it could be a hospital, it could be a casino, it could be a factory. There's all sorts of entities out there that have to have the power on all the time.
It seems like it's endless because my initial thing was healthcare.
Yeah.
And then, and then it's just, okay, factory lines, that makes sense. Replacing the people, type of thing. If that goes down.
Yeah.
And then, casinos. I mean, if those bells aren't ringing, nobody's making money. You're not printing money.
Right. Or if the lights go out,
it seems endless.
If the light goes out, everybody grabs the money.
Right.
So,
it's just kind of like for us, we get asked the question, we got some tax businesses, or what happens when our grid goes down, or, it did happen last year. We got a couple of lines cut, a couple of different times or whatever. We survived it, but it definitely did set us back, and it was some lines were cutting, and that type of thing. So very, very impactful. So you're in the food service industry. You said you're in finance. That's kind of interesting because I kind of grew up in the food industry. I knew enough after a little while that I didn't want to be in that industry forever. I like it, but definitely something not to. So we figured we're kind of in the finance, we're in the tax and the business development, and those types of things. So So you're out of Omaha, I take it. Is that correct? I understand.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Omaha. I went to school at UNO, got a degree in banking and finance. And my first job out of college was financial analyst for a company called ConAgra here in town.
Oh, I heard of those guys. They're that little outfit.
Yeah. Well,
They show up at a commerce meeting once in a while here in Omaha.
Mostly in Chicago now. But,
you were at ConAgra for a while, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My dad worked at ConAgra. He retired from there.
Oh, really?
Well,
what did your dad do there?
He was director of federal tax.
Oh, okay. He was in the tax department, huh?
Yeah, up at the headquarters up until about 99. Then he retired early, and small world.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So it's interesting with P3 how you described it started. Basically, you were solving a problem. You recognized that this was going to be a problem down the road, and you set out to solve it. Was that your first entrepreneurial endeavor to say, okay, let's solve a problem?
Oh, no, I'd been kind of when I was a kid, I had all sorts of entrepreneurial ventures, from selling vegetables to mowing lawns but then, you get wrapped up into college and your career.
Yeah.
And that kind of got put on hold for a while.
Yeah, you got to go up that corporate ladder. And that's kind of where I was, Brian, when I did my mid-30s or whatever it was. And I says, okay, here, climb this, because I was a Mutual Omaha in Omaha and climbed that ladder for 10 years. And I says, it's treated me great, and doing well. But I think you get that itch, and it says, you only have so long.
Right.
And either I'm going to try to survive this thing for the next 20, 30 years. And there's a lot of people that are willing to work a lot harder and longer. And, it seems like, so that was interesting. So you went on the way out and developed a company of sorts. So what, just kind of typical, what does a day look like for you right now, Brian, now that you've been doing this for 20 5
Yeah.
years or something like that. So
Yeah. So back when I started, my day was entirely different than what it is today.
mhm.
Uh, but when I started, it was visiting facilities that needed to have the power on all the time
Right.
and making recommendations. And it could be the range could go from a wastewater treatment plant in the morning to a surgical suite at a hospital in the afternoon. It was that extreme,
Mhm.
and it still is today. But now most of my day consists of managing people and larger projects and processes, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
kind of like
So
that where you're at now, Brian?
Um, I would say uh, no. I don't. I don't think. I don't think I like it as much as
Right.
I did back when I was growing the business in the woods. Now I'm working more on strategic projects that take longer to come to develop, and
Right.
but they are stretching me. It does cause me to do things I haven't done before and take chances that I probably wouldn't have took. But
Yeah.
we're focused on growing the
Yep.
business.
Yep. Yeah. I can kind of really relate to that. And I'm sorry. I have one question that I kind of wanted to bring up today because it's kind of where, um, we're a smaller company as well. We're growing it and we're trying to
Uh-huh.
provide people with content and, and just kind of, growing this thing and being meaningful, to our clients and such. And I'm kind of curious because you were probably at one point, you were your own sales force for your
Oh yeah,
organization.
yeah,
And what and how did you determine how to start developing I suspect, of course, you've got a sales force, as it is
mhm,
right now, but
yeah.
how did that kind of circumvent?
Well, I gotta say that the first of all, the for me, the overriding theme in my developmental stage was to be open to learning,
Okay.
because I was running across people that had been in this business for a long time, are related businesses, people that do what I do in other parts of the country. We'd see them at conferences, and so I was all ears, and I was a sponge trying to learn from as many people as I could learn from.
Hmm.
And I remember actually in the very beginning, I called an electrical a company that sold electrical stuff, not the stuff that I sell, but other stuff. And I asked the guy for advice, and he'd been there for like 40 years, and his name was Harold. I remember he didn't know me, never met me. It was just a phone call at the time, and he said if I had to do this over again, I would just focus on a few things and do them very well. And so I've always kind of remembered that. And
Hmm.
we get offers a lot to do stuff, to carry other product lines, to expand into other territories, or to do other things like solar power or wind energy or whatever.
Hmm.
But we stay in our niche. We stay focused on power protection, and there's a lot there for us. So those two things. The main thing is to learn and to stay focused.
Right.
yeah.
'Cause I feel like a lot of businesses, they kind of start wanting to get all over the place, and all of a sudden, they can't focus on the one thing or the two things that they have to be really good at. So I
Yeah.
know that's got to be kind of hard starting out, that you want to get in and like, wow, here's another opportunity and this and that. And you kind of have to restrain yourself to pull yourself back. And so did you develop a sales force then?
Oh yeah. We
Yeah.
have now. Yeah, we started as we. I wouldn't say that we mastered the markets, but I started with Nebraska and Iowa, and
Okay.
as that distribution network grew, and that was on what I would loosely refer to as automatic pilot. Things were working out pretty good. We
Hmm.
we then started expanding into like Kansas City and, hitting more populated markets. And so once we got the ball rolling in Kansas City pretty good, I hired somebody, and he's still with me today.
Okay.
And we started hiring other people to fill in from other markets so that we could grow. And even to this day, just recently, in the last, probably within the last year for sure, we've grown into, we kind of stopped our territory expansion after we got to 4 states. We thought, well, this is pretty good. 4 states,
Right.
it's plenty to cover. But then we got the proper coaching and training and vision and started
Right.
expanding into new markets. We bought out a guy that does what we do in Texas. So now took over Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Just starting to open up an office in Nashville right now. So
seems like everybody's doing that these days.
Yeah, everybody's doing that in Nashville.
That's awesome. So you key point there. I think you said, Brian, as you started looking at getting in the right groups and seeing the ideas of expansion. I know you're in RT. That's how we've met.
Yeah.
When did that journey start for you? How long into your entrepreneurial journey where you were doing the business, building the business, did you start focusing on mindset and masterminding and aligning yourself with the right folks kind of?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I will say that I wished it would have happened earlier because I became content with the patch of dirt I was already working. And it wasn't until I remember this distinctly when I was 46 years old and I was driving to my office. My office was in the Exarban Village area here in town at the Scott Technology Center. And I realized that I was pretty good at what I kind of admitted to myself that I'm pretty good at what I'm doing. And I could finally hear my own voice. That's what I call it, is hearing my own voice. I had confidence in myself. And from there, I think it kind of started in terms of adding other products to the mix, reaching out into more business partnerships. And then when a couple of years ago, after joining the already coaching group, I realized that I don't have as much time left as I thought I did, and I need to get moving on this and develop the vision and the dream and get the expansion going. And so that really kicked into gear probably 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Brian, what is the dream?
Well, the vision that I have is to be the central source in the country for what we call building confidence in power. And let me give you an example of what that means. In a lot of factories, there's a maintenance guy, an electrical maintenance guy who's been there forever, and he knows everything that's going on in the facility in terms of equipment and electricity. He's been there for 40 years, and he gets in trouble when the power goes out, right? It all points to him, but he asked for money for equipment and he didn't get it approved, or he didn't know how to ask for money, or he didn't know what equipment he needed. And our dream is to build his confidence in the power so that he's confident in what he's trying to do to his electrical system, what he's trying to do to keep his equipment running. And that he used to hate coming to work on Monday mornings if there was a thunderstorm over the weekends, because he knew he was going to have problems and things were going to be down and it's going to be hard to start the factory. But if he gets with us and if we can kind of work together on some projects, we can take those worries away and build his confidence level that his power is going to be there all the time when he needs it. And so that's the vision, is building confidence and power for those
Right.
sort of people for the entire country.
So that we want to be small distribution network, Iowa, Nebraska, to adding Kansas City, now acquiring. I heard you say nation,
Yeah, right.
right? So
Yeah.
the expansion plans have changed, right?
Yeah, that's a great pickup there, Chad. Yeah, right now, immediately, I'm focused on the central time zone because it's easier for me to do
Right.
business that way. And I'm not saying 100% focused, but I'm focused on the central time zone and trying to stamp out a process that works for the market. And in terms of staffing and sizing and offices, we have 4 offices now. So, yeah, and then expanding out of the central time zone once we hone our skills a little better.
Yeah.
Right.
So you said staffing. One of
Yeah.
the first thing you said to make that happen. And what is your philosophy in terms of building, nurturing, establishing culture,
Yeah.
training, SOPs, the whole that involves people? Because business, we all know, would be easy if we didn't have to deal with people sometimes, right? If we could do
Right.
everything
Yeah.
ourselves, if we had unlimited time and capacity. We don't, so we have to rely on people. What's
Yeah.
your strategy with that?
First of all, what we're doing in terms of products and our sales engineering approach hasn't really been done before, or hasn't really been focused on. For example, I'll give you an example. General Electric, huge company, right? They might have a catalog of 2,000 power products in their catalog, and their GE rep firm will sell 2,000 products. Well, maybe 4 or 5 pages in that catalog competes with us, with what we do. And those GE reps aren't the expert on those 4 or 5 pages because they got a huge catalog to sell.
Right.
We are the expert on those 4 or 5 pages. So we have to become that expert, and that expert isn't out there yet. We have to grow our own. So we're really looking for people that have gumption, that are self-starters, good conversationalists, and we can hone them into becoming what we call a power quality representative. And we can teach them, and we do a lot of work on educating not just our employees but our customer base,
Right.
on what we do. So a lot of it is find the right person with the right attitude, and then work on the educational aspect for our customer base and our people.
Right. Because I think sometimes businesses, they get caught up on just wanting to go out there and, sell as many products as they can, or whatever it may be. And that's what kind of drives them, type of thing. But if you can nurture that mindset that you're going to be an industry knowledge-based leader and be able to, concentrate on that and be the best at what it is that you do. Like you said, that GE guy that has that 200-page, it's just like master of none,
Right.
type of thing is where you want to get into that particular niche. And, we can certainly identify that within our own organization. I think most people can within their own organization as well, going back to, do I want to get into all these other things? And hey, maybe it makes better sense to kind of stay where we're at and just expand that because we're good at that. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I remember when Katrina hit New Orleans, right, and devastated the power grid there. There was a huge opportunity to go down to New Orleans and help with the rebuilding and sell product and, do some stuff. But I realized that I'd be driving by a lot of potential customers just to get to New Orleans.
Right.
And so it's that concept of driving by potential that bothers me more than anything else. Is why am I going 8 hours over here when I have some great prospects 2 hours away?
Right.
And you try to make that work.
That's a great
Now
point.
we do a lot of business with national accounts,
Mm-hmm.
and they send us all over the country. Besides just our geographical territory, we might get called to wherever they have a particular problem or wherever they have a factory expansion going on. And we really aren't confined to geography anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're more focused on connectivity and what makes sense, because a lot of our larger accounts take us everywhere around the country.
Right. But
Mhm.
you've nourished a lot of those locally, those relationships, I take
Well,
it.
yeah,
They
locally is
trust
kind of
you.
a misnomer. We in the Midwest,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's Cargill out of Minneapolis or you know, uh, ADM or any kind of agriculture, John Deere out of Quad Cities.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember, anybody that has production that's critical, that has to go all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There, and we've done some stuff in a few of their facilities. They're going to send us to some of their other facilities.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
In terms of staffing, you talk to business owners, small, mid-sized, large, everybody has challenges
Hmm.
finding people, not just people, but more importantly, the right people. Um,
Yeah.
how so you hire for personality? Did I capture that right?
I
Personality
wouldn't. I
kind of
wouldn't
skew.
say. Yeah. Not so much. Uh, it depends on the position, but we do use this Gallup Strength Finders uh, personality profiling, but also we're we're more interested in, is it somebody that you would want to buy from, or is
Right.
it somebody that you would want to work with on the project? And there's different personalities for that. A lot of times a salesman um, is not a good engineer, and we need to
Mm-hmm.
find that mix of just the right amount of salesmanship with just the right amount of engineering in them, so that they're coming across as capable of
Right.
recommending these engineered products, basically.
Yeah. So then it's not so much of a sales process. It's more of a, just
Yeah,
a conclusion,
yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
yeah, a lot of people say, well, you should pay your guys commission, and in our world, some of these projects take 4 to 6 months to 2 years to come
yeah.
around. And there's a lot of education that has to happen along the way for in a lot of different areas. And so in order for me to get our sales engineers into the education mode, which is basically like business development mode,
Mm-hmm.
you can't pay them commission. You have to give them a salary, because you're asking them to get in their car and drive for 5 hours, spend the night, and do a 3-hour presentation for an engineering group in a town somewhere about these products, and then come back. And so you took them out of their ability to make commission,
Right.
right? And so it's not like selling water softeners or solar equipment, or it's not a phone book and
Right.
a phone. These are more engineered solutions that take time to
Okay.
develop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you put yourself back there, Brian. You've been in for this particular line of business for 25 years, and
Hmm.
just for the younger up and comings that are trying to identify where it is that they want to go, to the young entrepreneur that's kind of starting out and wanting to take that next step, and
Right.
like what would you kind of say, what is your ground level, how do you start putting the pieces together when it
Yeah.
comes to just,
I
what do I do I need to develop a sales force? Do I need to work in my operations? Do I need to, create
yeah,
my principles, or,
Kyle, that's a great question, and it's different for everybody in every industry. But for us, particularly the young people that have gone through COVID or grew up with a computer screen in their face or a phone in their face for the last 5 or 6 years, is you really have to focus on your people skills, on your
Mhm.
ability to communicate, your ability to exude high energy, to be humble, to be engaging. And, when you do find a young person that's like that,
Mm-hmm.
that's the unicorn you want to hire, because those people are hard to find right now.
Right.
And so, young guys starting out, I would suggest that you learn. You're a sponge. You learn from everybody you can that's doing what you want to do, and even make it a little bit better. I'll tell you a story. I went to an annual sales conference down in Florida when I first started. I don't even think I'd been there like 3 months yet in terms of repping this product line. And in the room, there was pros that have been doing this for a while. And I didn't even have a business card yet. I had a homemade business card where it came off my
I
printer.
think we've all been there at one time
Right.
or another.
Yeah, right. And so I introduced myself to as many of them as I could. I got their business cards. There's a variety of business cards that came out of that. And
nice ones too, I'll bet. I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
Really
And so when I got back home, I laid them all out and I took the best off of each business card and combined it into making my business card, whether it was a logo or whether it was a saying or whatever I could learn from them, or it was a flap on it or something. And then I had my business cards printed.
Oh, cool. That's a really cool idea. I like
you
that.
have to learn. So
Right.
if you're just starting out, learn from the guys that have been doing it for a while.
Right.
That's awesome. We've talked a lot of business culture, staffing, growth, mindset. What's Brian hobbies? I mean, you got to escape. You got to escape from.
Yeah.
The
What do you do?
I think I've seen some posts of some boats.
Oh, yeah. I do a little fishing, some boating. I've come to realize that everybody needs to have a part of their life dedicated to gratitude. And I developed this business of leather working where I make leather bracelets, and
Cool.
and I give them away. I don't sell them, but I probably given away thousands of them by now. And it's one of those deals where I really couldn't sit and watch TV, whether it was a football game or anything on TV, without doing something to keep my hands busy. And so I put a leather working workbench in my room where I watch TV, and I sit there and I make leather bracelets while I'm watching TV, and I give those away. And those are that's kind of my hobby, I guess, or it's my way of giving back to people in general, right? And
Interesting.
So that's one of the things that I do. Probably now in the winter months, I'm big into the leather working stuff right now.
Right.
Do you give those to certain folks battling challenges or facing obstacles? Is there a...
Yeah, it runs the gambit. Sometimes I'll set up a whole display with hundreds of bracelets on it and ship it to a small shop, small business somewhere that might sell it, and just give it to them for free, just anonymously. Sometimes I'll like I'll give you an example. We had a corporate holiday party a few weeks ago, and people from all over the country came in with their spouses. And so I brought some of the leather bracelets and said, hey guys, just help yourself. And, everybody, some people don't wear them at all. Some people wear them all the time. And
Nice.
I've given them to strangers on the street. I've given them to teams. I've given them to just a variety of different places.
No, and I like that because it's a visual too, because when people, and when you brought in that gratitude, that, you can just give somebody without anything in return, that gratitude. And if they're going to take that, they put that on their wrist, maybe that'll remind them that, somebody just gave this to me anonymously. It's like paying it forward type of thing.
Right.
And I love that. And No, and I think that's just very admirable for you to do that. As small as it seems, but it gives you that purpose.
Yeah,
And
it gives me a, let's just call it an outlet for gratitude in my life that I can manage and have some degree of expectations for, right?
right.
But I will say before we wrap up that culture is a huge thing in our company. Company values are big in our company, and we have a list of values that you can see on our website. You can see on our emails. You can see in our offices. If you go to any of our offices, you'll see our values on the walls, and we make it a point to not only push our values, but also we talk about them in our staff meetings on Monday morning. It's one of the subjects that we deal with in our Monday morning staff meetings is our company values in action. And if somebody has a particular story with a particular customer or something where, we accented one of our values, we share those stories, and we use this, and this is part of the coaching as well, where you use these company values to keep everybody on the same page, but also to make everybody better. And we take it one step further, and we take the value that you feel like you need to work on the most. And for example, in mine, one of our values is blaze the trail, which of course, as a leader, that's one of the things you have to work on the most, right? Is blazing the trail. And we write that on the wall in your office. So you pick which value you want to see every day when you come in, and it's written there on your wall to remind you to work on that particular value the most.
No,
So
that's terrific. That's terrific.
Awesome. No, that's fantastic, Brian. I think in closing here, I just want to thank you for joining us. I know
sure.
our audience, whoever listens to this, is going to there's tons of nuggets of information in here, and whether they're simple things or more advanced thoughts that you've shared with us today, I know there's some definite value that can be drawn from this that can help not only in business but life in general. So
sure.
We appreciate your time and
well,
really
thank you guys for having me on. I feel humble to even be here. So
well, thank you so much, Brian. It means a lot, and we appreciate you so much for you taking. I mean, you've got to be a very, very busy person, and you taking the time out, in the middle of your week and to doing this. And our gratitude towards you and everybody that's on this call for being here today.
Hey, thank you guys. Have a great rest of the year.
All right. You take care. Happy New Year to you. Happy holidays.
Happy New Year to you guys. See you, Jordan. Bye.